Hey, it's your boy Easy.
And it's your boy Ryan, boys, back again.
Again. And you're listening, watching Turtle Soup, the world, internet, the galaxy, the future's only community-supported podcast dedicated to the ongoing journey of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all the way from the beginning until Drippo the Hippo, 1, puts out a full-length record, and then 2, shows up in TMNT. I'm just saying. Are you familiar with Drippo?
Absolutely not.
Oh my goodness. I will educate you on Drippo after the show.
Okay.
The best rapper alive. Top 10
Okay.
Best rapper. It's no
Sounds
longer
good.
Dylon. He spits hot fire. A little bit of a thing. It's a TikTok thing, so or social media, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
A hippo who wears like really cool outfits, and he rhymes, and his flow is sick. There's no beat. It's all a cappella. And
Okay.
it's fantastic. And it was one of those things where I've seen it for like months, and I'm not humble brag here, but I saw it and I was like, Shannon, she could like it, but I don't know. She's probably gonna think it's stupid, and I didn't want her to be like, that's lame. I know other animals that rap better than this, and kind of kill it for me.
Yeah.
But then I come in and she starts telling me, she sits me down and she's like, hey, I need to talk to you about something. Like, have you seen? And she starts to explain Drippo, and I'm like, I cut her off and I'm like, Drippo?
Like
And she
Drippo?
same time.
I've been
bro,
here.
Same time. And it was like, it rekindled our relationship. Like the spark's back.
Great.
The spark is back.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's
Usually you have to
wonderful.
get like handcuffs involved for that to happen. So.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we were just, they're in the cart. They were in the cart on Amazon, but we hadn't pulled the trigger on that yet. But Drippo, saving relationships. Who knew?
There you go.
When speaking of saving relationships, guys, we're on YouTube, and that is how we have a relationship with you, the listener. And then if you want to become a viewer, you can see our faces and put it's peanut butter and jelly. It's like the names, the vocals, the face, all of it, the package.
Or ham and cheese if peanut butter is gross to you.
Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry. That was really exclusive of me.
It's fine.
Is that still exclusive? Yeah, that term still.
You were
works
excluding me in that statement.
I was excluding you, but that's what makes something exclusive, right? Is that you does that word work?
Yeah. Something be exclusive means that people are excluded.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's fascinating to me.
That's like today I learned an absolutely new word I've never seen before, but I love it.
Yeah.
Do you know what defenestrate means?
Ooh, I do not.
To defenestrate someone?
It's defenestrate, not diffenstrate. Defenestrate?
It's DEF. Defenestrate.
Okay, no, I don't think I do.
It is to throw someone out of a window, killing them.
Oh. So it's like a dual thing.
No, it is like murder by defenestration, which
That's
is
what I'm
throwing someone, out of a window, to their death. That is defenestration.
So throwing someone out a window is not defenestration if they don't die. Do they have to die?
Like an attempted defenestration, I think.
Oh, that's true. Okay, attempted. Yeah, that's okay.
Also defenestration is the same if you are trying to unalive yourself too.
Oh, okay.
That is considered, unalived by defenestration.
Okay, so it's not mutually exclusive. I never can use that term.
Or in more of a casual way, you can use the word more casually to say like someone was like abruptly thrown out of something.
Interesting.
The example I saw was that after World War II, the war-weary British Parliament defenestrated Churchill out of government.
Oh,
like
okay.
they literally they were like, okay, you were the guy during the war. That's great. We're trying to do something different. Like just throw him out.
Oh,
right on his ass.
Just right on his ass.
So that is a defenestration as well.
Defenestration.
But yeah, I learned a new word, and I was like, I've never seen that word or heard that word.
Ooh, I don't think I had either.
I saw it in an article, and it spun me out because how are you going to be 42 years old and not know a word?
Not know a word. That's true.
Or never even heard it. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, continue. But
you
that's
read enough books where people die from defenestration. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Defenestration?
You did. You did.
Okay. Excellent. I'm going to try to, dude, let's try to see how much, if we could throw that into the review and this whole episode. But another word that sounds like that is demonstrative, and they say that all the time at my job, and I hate it because it's just demonstrative, but they say it demonstrative.
Well, that's how you're supposed to say.
Right, but you're demonstrating, but not demonstrating. The emphasis on the syllable. My brain is. I'm like, I hear monster.
Well, because I think that demonstrative. So I've found it very interesting, and I'm not a linguist, so I'm not a language scientist, so I don't know all these things. But definitely, it's funny how we've decided to pronounce certain words certain ways, and when you say it, it does feel like demonstrative. It does feel like it breaks some kind of English.
Yeah, like faux pas.
Yeah, some kind of like English rule or something.
Well, it comes up
demonstrative.
It comes
sounds
up
more like what we would say.
Right. But it comes up in court and they're like, yeah, that's demonstrative of whatever.
Yes.
And I instantly think that
you go demonstrative.
Well, yes, but I instantly think of my first thought is that person's a monster and this is how they're explaining it. And then I have to tell myself, no, it's the other way around, or it's a different thing. And so, yeah.
Well, if you're trying to illustrate a point that specifically includes Matt Damon, it's demonstrative.
Demonstrative. And so demonstrative of that illustration or that whatever you just used, the imagery you just used.
Yeah.
Matt Damon is on YouTube, I'm sure. And so are we.
Yeah.
And so that means, and he's probably been in a movie with Kevin Bacon, and that means that the closer you are to us, the closer you are to Kevin Bacon and YouTube and all these things. And so we're here on YouTube if you want to see us and be even closer to us and put more of the picture together. And we appreciate everyone who's here. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do that. I know you hear everyone talk about it, but we talk about it for a reason because it really helps us to keep from defenestrating ourselves. Because we those numbers, they just keep going up.
We used to vaguely mention that we might do something to ourselves, if we don't get certain reviews or whatever. Maybe in the YouTube landscape where language is a lot more picky, maybe we should be talking about like, I was about to defenestrate, but then like I got that review, I got that 5-star review, you know what I mean? Like, or whatever. And I decided to come down from that ledge, my friend.
Oh, dang. Third eye blind. There you go. But so I mean, and we have heard of people having that happen to them by way of them also missing their balls when they were found. So Mr. Bucket could be doing that.
Well,
like that could be a new thing he's doing.
You don't want your balls being demonstrated to be demonstrative.
No.
Of your of what could happen if you don't like, review, subscribe the show. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And if Matt Damon's there, it's also demonstrative.
Demonstrative, right? And all that combined, you just don't.
And then Eric's going to say, "Demon, demon," and it's like imagine all that happening, and you don't have your balls.
Right.
Imagine like all that.
Yeah.
And you're just out.
And you could have solved it by just liking and subscribing here.
It's just a like and subscribe, hit the bell icon to get all the notifications for the show.
There you go.
It's just rate and review on Apple, Spotify. That's all it is.
Exactly, that's all it is. And there's people that do that, and we appreciate all of you for doing that. But then there's those people that go the extra mile, and they're demonstrative demonstrative of
their demons for the podcast.
For the podcast. And we just want to shout them out because they're our wonderful patrons, Noah Overton and John Clemens. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your support and keeping us from saying clang when we are deaf and straight. Did I say it again? Deaf and straight?
Yeah.
Demonstration. Okay, demonstrated.
Yeah.
When we hit the ground, we don't say clang. Like we just bounce back.
Thank you.
So there you go. Because of you guys.
That just makes it an attempted demonstration.
An attempted demonstration. Exactly. And well, speaking of things that were thrown out the window to see what sticks, Ryan, what are we covering tonight?
Guys, we said it. We said it so many times. Guys.
We're going to stop.
This is not a drill. It is the year 2001. Remember that from Dre from Chronic 2001? Because
I don't remember
it was
the
going to be
Echo.
called. Oh, you don't remember that?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry to get sidetracked again really fast, but that's one of the most interesting things about the Chronic 2001 is that originally when everything was being recorded, all the ad libs, they did a lot of sound placement stuff. They had a lot of like they just recorded a lot of stuff for it.
Sure.
It was going to be called the Chronic 2000 because it came out in 2000. That was the entire point.
I do remember
Well,
this.
somebody made a mixtape like in like 1999 or like
Yeah.
whatever, late 99, and called it the Chronic 2000. And as try as Dr. Dre might, like he could not get the name to that shit.
Yeah.
So they had to call it the Chronic 2001. And if you listen on some of those like ad libs and some of those punch-ins they do,
Right.
so they'll go like the one where it's like the Chronic 2000, and then somebody goes and one, like the thing like they had to like add over them.
Yeah.
There's a few spots where they
That's
do that
great.
and one, or they do something like that.
Yeah.
Because but that's just an interesting part of that.
It is.
But we're in 2001. We are in the year 2000. We have jumped the bridge.
Yep.
We have jumped clear over the gully of the year 2000, where literally nothing came out for the Turtles. I'm sure some small licensed products were probably had deals with Surge licensing that went through 2000, potentially some manufacturer, but nothing novel, nothing new, no toys, no shows, no nothing. Comics, nothing in that year. Now we're gonna get more into, if you don't know the story of kind of what happened to create this, what is truly called like the second wave of the TMNT franchise, which we're embarking on. Then we'll let you know about that before we cover our issue today. We are back to comics. This is Mirage Comics Volume 4, number 1 of the TMNT from December of 2001. Which means it probably came out closer to like November, October of 2001. But there's some timeline stuff that's just very interesting. So we're getting into that. This is it. Turtle Soup 2000.
And one.
Yes. That should probably be the name of the episode. I'm just going to name it right here. It should be like the Turtle Soup : because it's the Chronic : 2001. Is now it should be styled like that, 2001. Yep.
I'm writing it down.
I named it. Yeah.
I'm writing it down so
it's important.
Remember. It is. Numbers are important.
That's what we're doing. So before that, we're gonna do a little bit of catch up. But keep it, and maybe some mustard.
Mustard.
And shit, mustard. Yeah.
I told you why his name is, or what I heard was why because his name is Dijon.
Yeah.
Okay, that cracked me up so much. I love that.
I heard this true crime story today about a woman. Oh, here's her name. Okay, her legal name was Taylor Shabusiness. Now, that wasn't her given name when she was born. No, this woman's terrible. She literally dismembered her boyfriend in the basement of his mother's house, and then hid all the body parts all around the basement like no one would notice.
I mean, was he dressed like he wanted to be dismembered? He might have been asking for it.
Maybe. There was a lot of meth involved, a lot of Xanax, a lot of other things. But the funny thing is that I'm at work on a break listening to this. I'm literally bust out loud laughing. I'm like, oh my god,
Shabusiness.
Shabusiness. Now she was born Taylor Coronado. Okay. She marries a guy. I can remember his first name, but his last name was Chabot. Right? That's his actual last name, Chabot, which I think is French, right?
It sounds French.
Well, because he was really involved in like dealing meth in like Green Bay, Wisconsin, all this stuff. His street name was Shabusiness, right? Instead of Chabot, but it's Shabusiness because like this dude meant Shabusiness. This woman, they literally they know each other for 6 months and get married, right?
Okay.
And she makes her legal last name Shabusiness.
Yeah,
that is the name she was tried under. That is the name. I mean, Taylor Shabusiness. And the last thing I'll say is when this isn't funny because this is during the witness statements when she's getting convicted of this awful crime. The uncle of the boy that she killed, and by the way, like it's not a boy. I mean, like they were both in their like early mid-20s. Okay, whatever, but like he's still a young man.
Yeah.
The uncle of this young man comes up in front of the entire gallery and starts running basically a fucking diss off on her, dude.
Oh.
He winds up calling her shit business. This is in court. This is in court.
That's great.
He's like, your name is exactly what you are, shit business. Like it's like a diss track.
That's excellent.
About how awful she is for killing his nephew, and
Yeah.
apparently the entire crowd bust into applause, and like it took like a very long time for the judge to like get everything back in order.
Yeah,
This is at the sentencing, like he's about to drop the hammer, and he's like,
Right.
"Guys, could you not be laughing about shit business for a minute?
Right.
Because like I need to like drop the hammer on this lady so we can give out
So
our day."
good.
Anyway,
So
but
good.
yeah, shit business.
That's so good. Well, what's your business been up to?
Oh my God, what's been my shit business?
Yeah, what's been your business?
Couple things. One, baseball is around the corner. March 28th, Rays opening day against the Rockies. I wish I could say I was more excited. However, some things. Number one, we may have the worst owner in baseball. Came out, said we're not doing the new stadium deal. So that's all down.
Yeah.
He wants to now. He's like, can we like refix the Trop up and stay there until 2038? It's like, what are you doing? Sell the fucking team, Stu. Sell the team. You suck. You suck. You got handed the deal on a platter, and you just were hardballing it the entire time. And I hate it, and I hate you. So I hope that somebody else buys the team and whatever. Also, they're playing at Steinbrenner Field, which is a minor league baseball park this year because the Trop was destroyed, partially. I'm priced out of going to Rays games this year because the ticket prices are so high because the seating capacity is so low. Yes. I could probably like StubHub or SeatGeek myself like a seat potentially in the middle of summer, like when no one wants to go anymore. And I may do it just one time to just see like kind of see the Rays play at the stadium open air or whatever. But like, I gotta be honest, like I'm still a big Rays fan, but like I'm not looking to pay a bunch of money to go see him this year. You're in a smaller park. You decide to charge more money.
Right.
When there are people that are still recovering from what the hurricane did that destroyed the fucking Trop in the first place. So you think you're just gonna filter everybody out and you're in Tampa and that you're gonna get away with that?
Yeah. It's obnoxious.
So I need Stu Sternberg gone. I'm sick of it. The only other thing I really did was I beat finally Horizon Zero Dawn.
Ooh.
And I'm now beginning Forbidden West. You know what I'm saying?
I do. That was a fun journey for me. What did you think?
I liked it. I like Zero Dawn a lot.
Okay.
It's funny, right? Because it's one of those first games where you're playing it and you're going, it's almost like that Mass Effect 1 effect.
Yeah.
As you're playing the game, you go, what are they going to tweak in the second game? Because some of this feels like I'm already gaming it.
Yeah.
And I got to say, they really solved a lot of what I thought were exploits in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to just craft willy-nilly, just anywhere you were, just like, I'll make up some health potions. I'll make up some whatever. Like, I do like the workbench concept. Fire arrows were way overpowered. In Zero Dawn. It's all I did.
Yeah.
I would tear blast to literally like blow apart all the armor.
Yep.
Then I would just like fire arrow. I just spam it until they were done.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that that's there, and I'm also glad it seems like the melee is actually more built up in this game, given there's like a whole skill tree around it.
Oh, it's
So I loved like hitting from afar, coming up, doing the thing, but like there's certain things I never used. I didn't use traps.
Yeah.
Why the hell would I use traps?
Yeah.
Like
the traps.
The traps, the trip caster.
Yeah.
Even the rope 'em down boy.
I used the rope 'em down boy quite a bit, but
I just wound up being like fire arrow, slingshot, blow up, like explosive slingshot.
Yeah.
Do massive damage, roll up and finish it, stun them, critical strikes, swing, dead.
Yeah.
Almost anything in the game.
Yeah.
And now it feels like they're definitely getting, now they're like this game's old as shit. Even the second game's now old. But I'm on it. New to me.
Right.
I can see it. It's definitely got some other. I really like the polar boy.
The
rope boy.
Oh, yeah. the thing that
Yeah.
in the new game. In the new game. Yes, yes.
You get
It's
shoot
kind of
up.
like you can like launch yourself. Like you can like hook on to
Yeah,
like a thing and like pull you.
caster. I think it's
Yeah,
called pull
I think that's what
caster
it
or
is.
something. Like I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it does seem like they've leaned a lot more into the climbing being a puzzle.
Yes.
More like Assassin's Creed. Because if like in the first game they kind of wanted to do that, but it'd be like, I can see everything.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna climb up, and if you can't, you can't.
Yeah.
Like it was very black and white. Although in the first game, I noticed. Did you ever notice that you can climb almost any mountain by just rotating your camera down and just jumping a lot
and jumping? Yeah, yeah. There were a lot of exploits in that.
I feel like I could just like any surface pretty much.
Oh yeah.
Like, I feel like I could just I could probably go to space if I got the camera angle completely down and was able to just
and just like jump up there.
you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a lot of talk about that. But yeah, no, I've been really enjoying it. Especially
so
when now that Alicia's been out of town so much on her book stuff, like it's definitely been a thing. I'm back in my comfort video games place,
right?
And stuff. So yeah, that's just been it. Alicia's been out of town a lot, so it's been me and the kids. Some silly crap. August said one of the most unhinged things I've ever heard yesterday.
Okay.
We were trying to figure out what to get for dinner. You know, the consensus was something fast to bring back. Wendy's and McDonald's were both on the table because they're very close. I wasn't really, I didn't really care either way.
Yeah.
August is like, we got to go to McDonald's because I got to get that strawberry shake. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, y'all, you don't even understand. Like, listen, that strawberry shake, it's like being breastfed.
What?
And like, I spit out my Coke when he said that. I was like, oh my God. And Kara's like, why? Why are you saying that? And I go, what? And he goes, listen. It's like getting breastfed by Ronald McDonald himself, dude. And like, I was like, what are you talking about, bro? Like,
it makes perfect sense. I get it.
Shit. Yes,
I get it.
Yes, and then Kara's like, okay, I'm done hearing that. He goes, okay, no, not Ronald McDonald. He goes, just Mrs. McDonald.
Mrs. McDonald.
Okay, like, that makes sense. McDonald's like, who the hell is that?
Right. Yeah.
That made me start thinking of like a female Ronald.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the appropriate bosoms with which to do the milkshake trick, and and then my son curled up, and it was a weird image.
That is very weird, but I love that. I love that he said that. That's just
the minute he said that, I was like, I feel like I got him across the line to where he's as ridiculous as we are.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
At that moment, I was like,
yeah,
that's something I would have said outside your house.
Yes.
Well, that's something I see outside your house now.
Exactly.
With the context right.
Yes. So no, that's fantastic.
But hearing it out of your kid, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's next level.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
That's about me. How about you?
Oh, dude. Running a cafe. Running a catnip.
Running a cafe. Working in a gold.
It's wild. We're still doing it. And it's we had our first the first time that I experienced someone coming in and asking us if we know Jesus. And that I was very happy and proud of my wife because we prepared for this. But I wasn't sure how she was going to actually handle it. And the lady comes in, she orders some stuff, and then she buys like a something off of us. And she goes, "Do y'all know Jesus?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, here we go."
Oh shit.
And I go, "Yeah." And then my wife goes, "Yeah, my husband works for him." And then she just like Shannon just takes off and leaves. And she goes, "Oh, okay,
that's a solid response."
Yeah,
that's
and
solid.
then the lady left, and I was like, "Oh, that was wonderful." And
I like it.
And then speaking of Jesus, I like to be the agent of chaos at the church that I work at. And so of course it's like minor stuff usually. And I'm like, okay, there's this song that they're talking about. If you don't go to church, they sing about a lot of things like blood and they say Jesus is
give me the blood, Lord, so I can go away.
Exactly. I'm gonna drink your blood shake. Ronald McDonald, Mrs. McDonald, I'm gonna drink your milkshake.
Give me the blood.
Yeah. So they sing a lot. They say his name a lot. And I started thinking, I'm like, what if we get up there and he's like, guys, it's a G. Wait, hold on. It's a J sound, like a soft. It's not a soft J, or excuse me, G, like Jesus.
Is
It's
it like
Jesus. It's
oh, Jesus.
Jesus.
I thought you might go like a long J, like Yeezus,
Like
which is
Jesus.
basically
Yeah,
what
that's
Kanye did. I mean, yeah.
exactly. And so but no, I started asking everybody that, and people were just like, you see the gears turning, and they're
Jesus.
like, why am I wasting my time on this? And I'm like, I mean, we
Yeah.
just translated that name from
That's
another
what Pastor
language.
Billy Kid meant when he said stop your thinking thinking.
Stop your
You're
thinking.
already pulling. You're pulling at a little fiber on that sweater of faith.
I
And you're
am.
going to unravel that whole damn
Whoop.
thing just by asking those little questions. You just
Exactly.
stop asking little questions.
But the one thing that brought my faith back in every aspect in its entirety was that we've been there's two things that have been happening. One, and they both revolve around the shop. One, I started putting on Muppet Babies compilation, or just like a playlist of all the episodes on YouTube, and letting that run all day on Saturdays. It is delightful because I've tried to sit down and watch those episodes. They're still enjoyable and they're still fun, but you can't really. It grades on you very quickly. But if you just have it on and then you kind of like look up and you're seeing like, it's delightful. And the other thing I've been doing is making playlists for the cafe. So like I've got like all these songs that are kind of safe for the shop, and it's been amazing because I've been like basically listening to more of my music that I like, and just acquiring or
auditioning it.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's been fun, and that's pretty much what I've been up to, except for one other big thing, and then we'll start talking about everything else. I'm in my WWE phase again, like where I get into wrestling. Yeah, it comes and goes. It comes and goes.
Sure.
But we found a way to let Farmer Greg let me play his downloaded version of the 2K24, and and then that got me and him watching Raw on Monday nights. And
you're off the top rope again.
Off the top rope. Yeah, exactly.
That easy. He's right back in the squared circle. Like you never left.
Never left. And we started it with watching the Vince McMahon documentary, which is really good on Netflix.
Yeah, I still need to watch that.
It's fun. It's very demonstrative of him, and you might think that he want to be defenestrated, but we haven't heard from him, so he might have. But a
lot of guys want to demonstrate that probably.
But
I just imagine you and Farmer Greg like walking back into the squared circle, and then you look up and it's like the ghost of Macho Man and JR. Force ghosts like waving at you
just
and
waving.
smiling.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's like just like that knowing smile, like you're back.
And I have to tell my wife, I was like, don't worry, it's a phase. It comes and goes. It's not a phase. It's just that I'll get really into it, and then I won't talk about it, but it'll be in my TikTok feed and I'll see it.
You get your fill, you get reacquainted, you know what I mean? You got to touch base. Sometimes you got to go back and touch base.
Yeah,
you got to fucking re-up.
Yeah, re-up, and I'm like, okay, now I know the drama.
Most of my life, I'm not just looping and obsessed with that dude singing along to the Golden Girls theme.
Right. Every once
in a while, I gotta. Whenever I go back to re-up, it's all I sing or think about for like a week, and then I'm back off again. You just got to re-up.
You got it. Yeah, exactly. So, so that's pretty much been what's going on with us. So you ready to finally get into the 2000s and talk about these issues?
So really a really fast programming note. I know it's been a long time since we put an episode out. We are aware. Not going to make a whole lot of promises and like weird things like that. Just if I say the classic old shit went down. But we're very glad to be back here. I feel like I wanted to acknowledge it. Sometimes people were like, "It's been forever." I'm like, no, it's been like I get it. We both get it.
Oh yeah.
But we got together. And we're doing it. And we're back in the 2000s. You know what I'm saying? And it's happening. So the year 2000.
Yeah.
The year 2000 was kind of wild. You don't often see a franchise properly shut down. But when ownership changes hands, things like that, especially when it's very small, it can take a little negotiations to make sure everything's okay. So we all know, this is kind of also basically really fast on how we got to this new comic. Then we're going to run into so basically of specific to Mirage, like to the comics, and tell you how we got here.
Right.
In the comics. So everybody kind of knows, and if you don't know, I gotta remember we do probably have like new listeners and stuff that might not know all this. We've been harping on this forever and waiting for this day, but in starting really probably in the early 90s when Kevin and Peter stopped working on Mirage proper themselves together. The very early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
That led to a guest star era in Mirage Volume 1, where a lot of their friends came in. And honestly, even though Kevin and Peter came back together for City at War and stuff like that, and the other one, City at War, and Return to New York.
Yes.
And Return to New York and some other stuff, they really went different ways. Kevin takes a lot of his money he made. He buys Heavy Metal magazine. If you see any picture of the two of them together from the 90s, this whole era we've been stuck in for most of the podcast. We spent some of the podcast in the 80s, a lot of it in the 90s. You see a picture of the two of them. You see one guy who looks like the nerd you'd expect to be sitting around doing turtles, and that's Peter. He's just doing his thing. Often people that know him have likened him most to like Donatello, as far as like if he had a turtle comparison, very much like him. And he said in interviews that he identifies with Donatello. It very much is his kind of style. And then you get a look at Peter, and Peter used to look like a nerd.
Yeah,
but in that era, Peter had the leather. Sorry, Kevin. Then you get a look at Kevin. Sorry.
Yeah.
Kevin used to be a nerd, same thing. Kevin now has got the black glasses on. He's got the sunglasses. He's got the cool slicked back hair. He's got
it's almost
your leather
Hollywood.
jacket.
It's
damn near Hollywood Ryan guy. It's very close. Going in way different directions. Kevin goes and buys Heavy Metal magazine and moves out to California. And Peter stays in Massachusetts where they were. It wasn't very easy to get together and stuff like that. This all culminates in the year 2000, specifically the date June 1st, 2000.
Yeah.
When they had been negotiating for a little while, Kevin wanted out. Kevin was kind of done doing the turtle thing. He wanted out to focus on Tundra Comics, which didn't do so great. But Heavy Metal and just other stuff he wanted to do. Peter was still all about holding the title. So Kevin sold his interest in the TMNT and everything to a combination of Peter Laird and Mirage Studios. Right. Now, funny enough, this buyout, while it did instantly kind of get Kevin out, the buyout was not completed until 2009.
Oh, wow. I didn't really realize that.
They paid him that. It was an installment. They paid him his money and his share. I mean, he wasn't hands washed, not getting any money from it, not whatever, from the company until that long. Okay. So it was definitely a very long structured deal.
Interesting.
This is why why Kevin doesn't touch the Turtles again until 2011. So imagine this deal ends in 2009. Give him a couple years, and he's doing covers for IDW, TMNT. That's where he comes back to the Turtles. So it's another way to explain why Kevin was not involved for a very long time. If you're coming at this from modern times, you may be forgiven for seeing Kevin Eastman as the face of the TMNT.
Oh yeah.
Now he does so much stuff with them. He's in there. He's not only doing art but wrote for TMNT IDW. He does the covers. He's the face of the franchise again. Okay. Yeah. Peter is, meanwhile, really, he's on the out now. Peter's out currently.
Right.
But if you go rewind the clock, it was very much different, right?
Oh, yeah.
So Peter has control of Mirage and the TMNT franchise, okay? And that's where we are today. Now, breaking from that, we're going to specifically concern ourselves with Mirage Volume 4, and namely, how we got here as a bit of a retrospective. This comic series has been going since 1987.
Yes.
Sorry, 1985.
Oh no.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
1985.
Yeah.
Because 84 was Palladium, and 85
Right.
is Mirage Volume 1, number 1. This comic's been going since 1985. Now, it sometimes would take a year or two off, but not really.
Right.
And we got 3 volumes that carried us through the mid half of the 80s and the complete 90s. And this was the previous 3 volumes. Now, Volume 1, Eric, what would you say about TMNT, the Mirage Volume 1?
Volume 1 is it's fundamental because everything about it set the groundwork for everything you know about the Turtles. Like it
Absolutely.
and it did it from the jump. Like right when it was defenestrated, all you thought it might be like that's it. Like it's dead because they're just doing crazy stuff, like throwing this stuff out the window. But like it sticks, and they stick the landing, and they're in space in like the third issue, and like all this stuff or whatever. And it's like stuff you thought might happen later in this stuff. Like when we first started reviewing the stuff for the show, I was thinking that like, okay, well maybe it's going to be like, by issue 12 or something, they might go to space. But no, it's like 3 or 4, one of the two. And it's like all of a sudden
it's very quick.
Very quick. Yeah. And they're just doing wild stuff, and the art's gorgeous, and the writing is it's of its time, but in a good way, that it's like it feels like an indie book, but like still is fun and silly, but not like what you'd come to think of the Turtles as, especially if you grew up with the 87 animated series. But a lot of the building blocks are there, and like they introduce us to the Utroms, they introduce us to the family, the Casey, April. We get the Rat King, and that's another thing. We got to include Tales of the TMNT.
Yes, Tales of the TMNT, where Leatherhead, Rat King comes in.
Right,
Nobody, which Nobody runs all the way into Volume 3.
Right.
I mean, like for what we've read so far.
Oh yeah.
I would see Volume 1 as, I think if I was to shorten down, I would call it the manifesto. It's the mission statement of the entire thing, right? Those first 11 issues, Tales and the micro comics for each turtle are legendary. It is Kevin and Peter working completely. And for a TMNT fan, I think it's just essential reading. 1 through 11 and micros, and Tales. It's huge. Now we'd be kind of lacking if we didn't say that a large share of Mirage Volume 1, though, is the guest star era.
It is, and that's where a lot of it kind of jumps off the rails. You get some cool stuff, like you get Bloodsucker, you get Renee.
Oh God,
and things like that. And,
there are guest era comics that are some of the best comics we've ever read. If you go back to those episodes, I mean, there are guest era comics that I would put up there, maybe not with TMNT 1, but that would be as impactful as any one issue of the golden 11 issues to me. I mean,
and what's neat about it, and I'm only now just thinking about it this way, but like, how like when you talk about Batman, it's never like it's never necessarily like a volume thing. It's more just like this was this story of Batman, like the Arkham Knight, or like the Long Halloween, this and that. Turtles sort of has that, but on a very micro level, where it's like very truncated into like only like a handful, like maybe 3 issues at most with this guest era. And because you have different artists that come in, like you have Zuli and Dooney that are drastically different, but like they make them look that they're distinct, and it's distinct.
It could be as dark or as ridiculous cracked comics as you want in that era. It goes, and that's the point all over the board.
Was trying to make is that it shows you the breadth of this franchise, and it's very demonstrative of that. And in Zuli they look like monsters, but and then in Dooney stuff they look like just crazy monsters. So it's very interesting how they could do that. And now when you're reading it, especially how we did for the show, it's a little it's a little troublesome a little bit because you're kind of like, oh, I want that first 11, like you were saying, the first
Yeah.
11 and Tails and all that. That's what I want.
And
But
then you gotta wait a while, and then you do have your islands, right? You have your Return to New York,
yeah,
in there, and all of a sudden, the boys are back together, and it's
exactly.
just as gritty, it's just as crazy. And then you get into your, kind of your finally, huge send off and kind of finale series that
Hmm.
sets you up for volume 2 very
Right.
intentionally, right?
Yeah.
Um, so that's kind of volume 1. I mean, it has these islands of like excellence and can't be denied. I mean, the first 11, I mean, it is the TMNT. I mean,
Hmm.
like it's the I guess it's like the Boolean cube of
Okay.
TMNT.
Yeah. Yeah.
Add as
Yeah.
much water as you want to thin it down and make it thinner or whatever, but like you can always go back to that base
Right.
concentrated mixture of what makes the TMNT themselves.
Hmm.
So then we get into volume 2. Now in volume 2 we are in color.
Yeah.
And volume 2 is more consistent. Volume
Hmm.
2 does not really have guest stars.
Right.
And this is something that they would never really go back to. With
Yeah.
guest star stuff in these other volumes 2 and 3. Um, that kind of era was done, and it was more concise. Um, I mean, volume 2, I think, was a kind of a solid growth from the team and everybody at Mirage.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. At this
you
point,
know,
at that point, I think that so another background thing is that you got to remember that the creative force was Kevin and Peter, but then like as this thing blew up and became a cultural phenomenon, a worldwide phenomenon,
yeah,
they had to mitigate all that. They had to like figure out what's going on and balance it, and if they wanted to
yes,
maintain control of it, which makes sense. Why wouldn't you? This is the dream. Like they are literally
yeah,
living like what every comic writer had ever probably hoped to
yes,
aspire to. They got it, nailed it perfectly.
yes,
And that's why Mirage Volume 1 suffers once, and it's kind of I don't know if it's ironic or Alanis Morissette ironic, but one way or the other,
mm,
it's interesting. They get so successful that the source product kind of suffers a little bit because they're doing all the other things. Well, by
yeah,
the time volume 2 comes around, they kind of have a firm footing as to what they're doing.
yeah.
It's not new anymore. So now they
Like
can go back.
Surge Licensing, which was the licensing arm of the TMNT, which I swear to God, if you look at any TMNT product, you'll see Surge Licensing on it. Back in
Mhm.
that era, especially.
Oh yeah.
You're right. It was a well-oiled machine by the time Volume 2 got going.
Mhm.
And they just, there was somebody in charge of making all the pepperoni sticks and all the weird turtle pies and crap,
Yep.
and they were now working on the books. And I think it's another era of reunion. But what we see is that while volume 2 is definitely a return to form with color and one note you made here, mixed media process as well. We saw the
Right.
first digital coloring
Mhm.
and digital process in the TMNT,
Yeah.
which was a really cool spot, especially if you're a fan of the vintage 90s digital mixed media, which I am
Oh
a
yeah.
trash can for. I absolutely love it. It's a huge part
Yeah.
of history to me. And I know that Eric loves it too.
Mhm.
But with that, you get less issues
Yeah.
because they are struggling to put out issues. Because everybody, Kevin lives in California. I mean, like it's
Yeah.
not as easy,
The
right?
internet's
And they
around,
have,
but it's not like what
yeah,
it is
it's not,
now. So yeah.
no, no, no. It's not as concise, or it's more concise, not as much of it.
Right.
And arguably, the end to volume 2 was potentially one of the roughest endings to a story.
Yeah.
As far as satisfaction point, that's just from my
Mhm.
angle. I know Eric
Yeah.
feels similarly. Some people don't feel that way, but we get a feeling of like, uh-oh, and then it's very quickly volume 3, and that switches to Image Comics.
Right.
And all of a sudden you get a feeling that they were like, we want to stop making comics. We're done. And
Right.
you're like, oh. There was a huge basement flood at Mirage Studios. There was a
Mm.
flood that damaged a ton of their assets. That really forced them out of the comics game.
Yeah.
Um, stop at least printing in house. They were like or designing in house. Like we're out basically.
Right.
This led to a very quick ending to 2. It gets handed over to 3, and that is Image Comics. And Eric, what would you say defines
Ooh.
the Image era?
So the Image era is great. I want to say I think we really enjoyed it from what we read here on the show.
Yeah.
As far as things that define it, I think that the things that happened to the turtles, the status quo is definitely challenged, where you have like they move layers. They got to go to a different place. They befriend like a bunch of the Image universe comic characters, which is really cool. And I think that was really good for them and showed that the turtles can work really well with pretty much anybody you throw them at. And then those are kind of surface level stuff. But the big thing is the turtles get basically marred. Like like Raphael.
Thank you. So a big thing, just to set you up on this, because I'll let you get into it. But like for a little context too, Image Comics at the time were the most extreme comics around. Like I know, yes, there were some actual blue comics that were like damn near the comic equivalent of snuff. I mean, there were comics like literally inked in actual human blood.
Oh,
like there were extreme comics, okay, but when it comes to mainstream comics or mainstream indie comics, this is what turned Image, and it changed it from the big 2 into the big 3, and that was Image coming about and doing their thing. Personally, literally handed by Mirage, with the blessing of Kevin and Peter, to Eric Larson at Image. Like we now give you our crown effectively. And Eric Larson took it damn serious.
Yes.
Like, and you see ads like, this isn't your grandpa's turtles and shit like that. They're setting this up that this is going to be a way more brutal Turtles comic, maybe in ways that even early Mirage couldn't be this brutal in its time.
Right. And I think it says something that it feels like, maybe the fathers of this brand couldn't do the things that Image could do because they weren't, the creators of it. So that leads to them shaking things up like right off the bat with Raphael getting half of his face blown off. You get Donatello dying, but kind of coming back into a robot form, and there's something going on there.
Like his actual dead ass soul, though.
Yeah,
like in an actual robot.
Totally.
Like it's kind of crazy.
And then Mikey becomes a published author. I mean, how do you come back from that?
Yes. And, Raph becomes the Shredder.
We get to that. Yeah. Eventually we find out that happens. He takes over the Foot. That's huge. We find out that Splinter Splinter's into BDSM. It's slightly touched upon, little, but
we'll let you dig that out on your own.
Yeah. Don't Google it, but just read through the issues. You'll find it.
Yeah, I wouldn't Google that.
Let's see. And then we get old friends, the Utroms, Triceratons, and Leatherhead. They all show back up. Casey and April show up. I believe Shadow is in there, if I'm not mistaken.
Shadow is back, and this is actually pertinent to maybe what you're going to see in this issue. Right. Shadow goes all the way back. This is volume 3. Yes. Shadow goes all the way back to City at War, Mirage Volume 1 era.
I think it's before City at War. I think it's the Casey precursor that comes up before.
Shades of Grey?
Shades of something.
Before?
Something like
Shades
that.
of Grey.
Yeah.
Like, and Shades of Grey was a setup to City at War. It was like a 2-issue prequel, like, let's get you geared up for City at War. And that is his ex partner Gabriella's baby. So that is not Casey's blood.
No.
But after the events of City at War and what happens to Gabriella, he takes Shadow under his wing. Shadow exists throughout Volume 2, throughout Volume 3, gets kidnapped at one point in Volume 3.
Yeah.
Dude, was that hardcore or what?
That was nuts.
So yeah. Like Shadow is like legacy throughout these volumes, which is super cool.
Oh, absolutely. And then the
absolutely.
other big thing that for us at least for the Image series was their covers. Their covers looked fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
Mirage has some great covers. Volume 1 and 2
Mm-hmm.
have some really iconic, really cool covers, but a lot of the covers from the Image series are just like stunning and just really cool. And
Yeah. Eric and I in that era, I remember especially because the covers were so out there. We almost had our own like would this snag you rating
oh yeah,
scale.
yeah,
Because they were trying to snag
they
some
were
stag some eyes on the shelf on New
absolutely.
Comic Tuesday. Like they were trying to get it to happen. And covers were
Yeah.
all out covers. And Mirage Volume 3 did end. You know, but it had more bones than it had more bones to go.
It did. It felt a little
It could
premature.
have.
It felt like it could have gone more and done more, but then also it felt like they
Yeah.
just, ended it. And yeah, but I mean,
And it kind of makes sense because it wouldn't be far from then when, and maybe the blood was already in the water that this huge transition was going to take place as well.
oh yeah, it could be.
In ownership, right? And yeah, so volume 3 is sick. It's a return to black and white,
Oh
and
yeah, that's right.
a lot of people love Image, and I totally understand. Now we get to volume 4.
So real quick,
Yeah,
where were you? So you and I are about a year apart school wise. So
sure.
in 2001, I graduated in 2001. So you were probably out of
2000.
school the year before.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes, I was year 2000.
yeah. So yeah. So we were out of high school,
Yeah.
and when this starts to happen, and
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know because it's nothing profound, but I
Mm.
remember hearing about this, and it was right around the time that I got out of school that I was like, I want to get back into comics again,
Yeah.
and because I had all this free time and I had
What a great way to
disposable
start
income.
too, with right here with Mirage Volume 4,
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, oh, at number 1, it's Mirage. It's cool. And I went to what is Readmore Comics here in Brandon,
Yeah.
Florida, and back in 2001, and I went in and I got this issue, and
It was still called Millennium
it was probably
Comics
called
back
Millennium
then.
back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's interesting.
and I meant to grab it, but and have it here. Not that you don't believe me,
Oh,
but I
yeah.
definitely have this issue. Quite a few of these from Volume 4, but
Nice.
yeah, I remember getting it, and I didn't know what to think, except I just like because at that point
Sure.
I had never read any of Mirage Volume 1. I had a couple of the
Yeah.
Image run, I think,
Mm-hmm.
but like the little bit of internet research that I did basically told me everything I needed to know, that that
Yeah.
everything's a little discombobulated at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it was exciting getting a TMNT number 1. I remember it and just being like, oh, this looks really cool, and then it just felt like right. It felt like what I wanted out of it. And so
Yeah.
anyway, I don't know. I just wanted to kind of give it a touchstone for us too, that
Oh,
like,
absolutely. In the time frame, and definitely, I know we have all different ages of listeners, but put yourself back then. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
if you were out in the nutsack at that point, like where were you at? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
um, but so we're gonna start things a bit backwards. There is an open letter at the end of this comic that I think really sets this comic up well. I know it was probably like we're gonna throw a damned page at you at the front of a comic. We're just
Yeah.
gonna let you read the book. But this I think works better kind of before you read the comic because
Oh
it
yeah.
sets everything up. And it's called "Why Another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Comic." It goes like this. This is from Peter Laird. Ever since June of 2000, when I became the sole owner of the TMNT property, I've been mulling over different things to do with them. Working with Mirage Studios CEO Gary Richardson, I've been exploring several options to bring the Turtles back to TV screens and toy shelves.
Mhm.
We've got some interesting possibilities lined up, but I'll hold off talking about them until we have actual broadcast commitments. So already, like maybe talking about Foxbox, maybe talking about O3,
Yeah.
like kind of
Yeah.
kind of talking it out. Don't want to say anything. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Um, one of the things I've been thinking about for years is getting back to basics, doing another TMNT comic. Kevin Eastman and I actually planned back in the early 90s to revive the black and white Mirage TMNT series, even going so far as to customize our 2 adjacent offices at Mirage Studios with a sliding glass window through which we could exchange pages as we worked on them.
That's super cute.
That's
I love
amazing. Oh, I think I lost my place. Oh yeah. Unfortunately, this project never went beyond initial plotting. I am, however, using a couple of the ideas I came up with for that series in this new one.
Mm.
But something happened in June of 1999 which really got me going. One of the last events at Kevin's late and limited Words and Pictures Comic Art Museum in Northampton was a signing attended by me, my Planet Racers collaborator and penciler on this new TMNT book, Jim Lawson, who Jim Lawson's amazing.
TMNT royalty.
And Gut Wallow creator Dan Berger, who we also know as a frequent Mirage cat and a fantastic 4-5 frame comic strip
artist
and writer.
Shit.
By the way,
yeah.
Don't sleep on Dan Berger at all.
No, fantastic.
He's one of those shining stars in the Mirage constellation that gets slept on. Dan is fantastic.
Oh, perfect.
So you just hear those names, Jim and Dan, and you're like, I'd do anything with those guys. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like I'd rob a bank.
My money.
I don't know. I'd jump off a cliff if they told me to.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah.
So so he continues. Part of the occasion was an evening. Well, would you jump off a bridge if Jim Lawson and Dan Berger told you? Yeah, Mom.
Right. Yeah, Mom. What do you think about that?
And you're lame as shit for not doing it.
Exactly.
Frankly.
Yeah.
Lame ass mom slams the screen door.
Right.
You know, like,
oh yeah.
Slamming a screen door could be the whitest thing you can do.
It could be.
I mean, yeah. Like finger guns, like that guy. That's another one, but slamming a screen door is pretty white. Part of the occasion was an evening a reception at the museum, and to be honest, I really wasn't looking forward to it. It's not really my kind of thing. I was pleasantly surprised though, because at the reception I met 3 young women who were all TMNT fans. I spent several hours talking with them together and individually. They impressed me with their intelligence and perceptive comments and questions, way beyond the, quote, how did you create the turtles, or, quote, did Kevin draw and you write, kind of questions I typically hear at appearances. Beyond that, though, it was the fact that for each of them, the turtles had a significant impact on their lives. Each of them had a moving tale of what the turtles had meant to them, and it really made me feel good about what Kevin and I had done with the Turtles comics. It inspired me so much that shortly after the event, I became determined to do another TMNT comic book series. So, Rhea, Sarah, and Bridget, thank you. New reader or old fan, I hope you enjoy this new series. I'm certainly enjoying doing it. My intent is to stick to a bi-monthly schedule, similar to what Kevin and I tried to do, but didn't always succeed with the original Mirage TMNT series. As I write this, I'm finishing up lettering the issue number 2 and inking on issue number 3. Maybe I've gotten slower with age, but I think I'm going to have to get some help with future issues. And my friend Eric Talbot said he would pitch in. This guy's just name checking everybody.
Absolutely.
He's like, no big deal. Eric Talbot, legendary, in particular, Tales of the TMNT inker, who just like him and Jim Lawson. You want to talk about like peanut butter and jelly? I would eat. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I'd eat that. I'd like to thank Jim Lawson for agreeing to pencil this new series, Mike Dooney for painting the cover, because that's another genius. Yep. He also said he'll paint more, Yahoo, and Dan Berger for production assistance, Cowabunga, Peter Laird. And then he has a postscript about something he's doing on planetracers.com. Sadly, I tried that's just a weird hentai site now. I don't know what it is, but it's not Planet Racers.
Did you put all of the letters in lowercase like it says to do down at the bottom? Because that's probably
Internet 1.0 is so cute. It's so cute where it's like, and he does say, like here he puts a link, which might be the first time a full page, like full HTTPS like protocol link was ever posted in a Mirage comic, and they're like, listen, kids, this entire thing needs to be typed out exactly, and it all in lowercase, or it won't work.
Mm-hmm.
Don't blame me
I love
if
that.
cap locks get stuck.
Right.
And yeah, and then of course he gives a very last shout out to the cool stuff Dan Berger's been doing with the official Mirage TMNT site, which he also worked on. So he was all in the background, and we just have a personal love for Dan Berger.
Oh, absolutely. My dream is to one day have all of those the comic strips like all combined that he did. Oh, it's so good.
His run is stupidly good.
Oh, absolutely.
So that is like kind of, you know, the postscript, but I consider really a really good. We both consider a really good like intro.
Oh, definitely.
And now we're gonna move on, and we're gonna do this comic. We're gonna talk about the cover. Eric, what's up with walking into a very brand new December 2001 post 9/11 Turtles comic book?
It was wonderful because seeing it like this on the shelf, seeing it with the red bandanas, like this is the first Turtles comic that I've bought. I think that like they had that, and I remember finding out about that.
The legends are true, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was just all about it, and it was fun because it was right when I was getting into comics again. And you know, when you go through your comics phases where you're like, oh, these are a bunch of little micro books that I can buy. And it's basically like stacking up a queue of things to watch on television or whatever of your favorite TV shows. It's kind of a similar thing.
Oh,
like
the tactile nature, the smell, just the tactile nature and senses nature of having a stack of comic books to read is something I still like. I feel missing in my life.
Oh yeah, definitely. And
there's something about that at a certain age, and hell, any age, where when you've got that stack and you've got them in the right order, you queued them up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like whether it's your weekly pull at the comic store, or you go and buy a bunch of issues at a con or something like that, and you get them all like physically lined up.
Yeah, there's just something about it.
Comic playlist.
So this cover is really striking because it's like you said, it was painted. Let me go back real quick because I was showing that this is Peter's original sketch of it.
Yeah, I like that at the end of the comic. This is the very last thing in the comic, and he just threw in his inks and pencils before he got the coloring done, and it's neat to see.
It is very neat to see, and then Dooney gets his hand on it, and it looks like this. And it just the shadows and just in the moonlight and everything. It
contrast is super stupid. It does a great job.
It
really
looks just premium. Like it looks like mature and premium, and like there's something substantial about it. And I was very taken with that. I was not taken with the $2.95 price. $2.95. That was a little rough.
We're $1 away. We are very far away from whatever, like 125 pennies and shit we used to say about the early comics.
Yeah,
without a doubt. How about that $4, 410 pennies in America's hat, bro? Like that price, that could scare you off the stand. I'll be honest, comics aren't much more expensive than that now.
No,
like I mean, Canadian prices. Floppies, like now, man, like you're gonna pay $5 for a floppy. I'm a little bit like, or more. I'm like, guys, and then you're gonna double ship them.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah,
that
it priced me out, but it did feel.
I'm out of floppies. That's crazy.
Yeah, I remember if I'm not mistaken, the feel of this book felt heavy, like the print, like the paper felt a little like more dense. And so that kind of helped with the price point, but I don't know. That's just all.
Do you recall the trim? Do you recall the trim? I know you have it, but do you recall the trim size? Was it standard trim size, or was it placed based on the staple locations? That looks like standard trim size to me. But Mirage always went a little different, like on their sizing. And I don't
recall
like
it. I mean, I think it all fits in the normal long boxes and stuff. I don't recall it standing out. but I do remember it feeling
even Mirage, like early Mirage issues will fit in a long box on the tall side.
right.
Sometimes they have a hard time with a normal bag and board on the width.
Mm.
The width is a real bitch.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
you
the
know, because
width
it's
was
just a
fine.
little wider. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I
It
think
looks like a standard ratio.
yeah, but yeah, this is great. And then I love the Mirage logo up at the top.
Yeah,
For the masthead.
yeah.
Yeah. And then what do you think about the new logo, the TMNT? Like it says that. Like it does. I think this is the first time we were seeing that because we're used to seeing Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. I like it. I think it could do with a little bit more styling.
Yeah,
It looks a little plain.
it does.
The only thing I will say is I think maybe the wilder the covers get potentially, the
Mm-hmm.
better it'll be.
Oh yeah, like in
Right now because
contrast.
because right now because this issue is so classic, I would prefer something that was a little bit more you know, like more of like an original logo on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But this is again just kind of my first time looking at it.
right.
I might not just like it in this color gradient either. Like it might
Interesting.
just be like this color gradient. Maybe if I
Yeah,
see it in like blues or greens, I'll be like, oh shit, oh my god, you know, like
right.
but I like it. It's cool. I do like the big TMNT. That's neat.
Yeah,
That's a departure. I really like that.
and it pays a slight homage to the Turtles, in their on the first issue of Volume 1, where they're on a
Mhm.
rooftop, and this is presumably a city rooftop. You can see the brick down
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It's that classic orientation, kind of like resting fighting mode, which is kind of what
Right.
you have on the cover of #1.
Yeah.
And we'll get into this. This isn't the only reference to past Turtles comics, specifically issue 1.
Right.
So volume 1, #1. So we'll get into that. Um,
So yeah.
we did not talk about this previously. This is unscripted. Did you want to like split the book half and half?
I mean, I really don't know. I don't have a
You want me to
preference.
take it? You want to take it? Like what? Or how do you want to do? Are we gonna do the like? One of us does this one, and one of us does the next one.
Right, because it's been a minute since we've done.
It's been a
issues.
minute, and we got to kind of set this up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I'm
I'm good.
I'm cool for splitting this first one down the middle if you're cool
Let's
with
do
that.
it. Let's do it.
Like I could open it up, and you could.
Well, let me
send a bring-
open
wanna
it
open
up
it?
if that's cool. Yeah,
All right.
I want to open it up because
Yeah.
not that I don't mind that you've been talking a lot, but you have been, and
I have
that's
been.
not
Sorry.
that's not a problem. I love it. That's why
I'm
I do this
verbose.
with you.
Aw.
But all right. So God, I thought of something stupid. It's so dumb. I should not even bring this up or call attention to it. I was gonna talk about how Michelangelo's chain on his nunchucks look like metal because it's painted and they're not plastic, and I'm like, no, this isn't a toy, Eric. Like this is an actual issue of the comic. Like you don't need to. Like my brain is trying to find the the program that I use to.
You're like now no what this looks like actual metal goods instead of colored plastic
exactly
because
yeah.
it's a painting.
Right. Like that's what my brain just totally did. I'm like, don't say this out loud. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm letting you know. That's what you can expect from Turtle Soup. Anyway.
100%.
All right. So moving on. We got this awesome.
Oh,
just first page.
I love that. That
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Dedicated
Because we do have audio listeners. Yeah.
Dedicated to Kevin Eastman, without whom this trip would not have been possible. And it's a picture of Leonardo drawn. I think Kevin probably drew that, or at least that's his style.
It looks a lot like Kevin's style.
Yeah. And yeah, it's gorgeous. And I like Laird's turtles, I do, but Kevin's for me are just I love them so much.
It's all different. It's all different strokes.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about how Peter arguably draws a cleaner turtle.
Yeah.
And arguably, honestly, draws a lot of things a little cleaner than Kevin.
Absolutely.
So he's a lot more precise, but there is a look to Kevin, and I think that it's not a mistake that this is a volume 1 Leo.
Yeah.
This is a
definitely.
even if Peter aped Kevin's style for this,
right?
Because it's not attributed to anybody. It is most certainly Kevin's Mirage Volume 1 Leonardo.
Definitely.
Which is really cool. And I was really in my feels because I was reading all about the changeover and everything like that. And then when I saw that like as your first page, I was like, that's class.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. For two
Absolutely.
guys that, like, let's be honest, like, they did have fights. Like,
They
they,
did.
like,
It
they
was
got
public.
shit got a little personal sometimes with them, but to be the consummate professional like that on the end of it is really cool.
But I mean, I feel like it's kind of hard to stay mad at somebody that helped you make millions of dollars. Like
Yeah.
so much
Oh
money that
God.
like, you know, that
Yes.
money can make blood turn into water under a bridge, or however that phrase goes, very quickly. So
That was a good one.
thank you. That
I
was
got
for
a window
you.
right there, and after you said that, I damn near got just demonstrated myself like right out there, because I felt like I was given like my fucking cell activation code,
Right.
that was like sleeper cell like wakes me up and like you
Oh,
know it's my kill code.
out the window. We got credits: Peter Laird
Huh.
writing, lettering, inking, and
Hmm.
toning. We got Jim
All
Lawson
that.
penciling, Michael Dooney cover painting, and Dan Berger production assistants. So, and then we got a first printing down at the bottom, which is really neat.
Yeah.
So we open it up. We're black and white, folks. Black and white.
We're back.
Classic. Just excellent. And, you know, at first you want to think that, no, I want all color. And color's great. Color's fine. But there's something elegant and just very mature about black and white, I think. And yeah, I dig it. And so full page splash, the moon, airless and lifeless, silent. And we see Earth, presumably, in the distance. And there's a little character jumping or walking here among the dunes on the moon. And then we get a better picture of this character in this like robotic suit, and they're just doing some Hulk jumps, you know, just like, you know, because there's no gravity, so just keep jumping.
Welcome back to Duo Shade.
Oh yeah,
Let's go. The contrast is so good.
it's so good.
Back,
It's so
man,
good.
when you're in black and white, like Duo Shade, bro, like the inking is god. Inking is god. If your inking is top notch, I got to knock it out of the like Laird on the inking alone knocked it out of the park. Love Jim's work right here.
Oh,
But the inking when you're in this style, I think we forget how important it is
oh,
in Duo
absolutely.
Shade.
So another thing that Mirage does fantastically is their use of panel layouts. So as you see right here, this is all, everything you're seeing in the background is all the same shot. It's just
That's like
broken
a
up.
static shot.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just broken up with these white lines to illustrate that there's action happening with this character that's jumping through the air and landing. And you see it's demonstrative right here in the between the bottom of the second and or the middle and the third. You can see that line goes through. So this is the same hill right here, and that's just excellent. And you don't appreciate that. At least we didn't. Yes, until we were reading through Mirage.
I was a big comics fan before we started this show, so I was considered myself a bit of a cork sniffing snob of panel layouts in comics. It was one of my little things,
right?
But I was gonna learn today when I started doing this comic series, because the panel layouts are god tier.
Absolutely,
they're huge.
It's so good,
and this right, it feels so good to be back.
It does,
to like analyzing these because they're so much fun.
Oh, absolutely. So, yeah, this character, they're making their way until they get to the. You'll know more about this than I will, but this is where the leftovers of our moon landing, America's moon landing, was.
I take it this is Apollo 11. This is the original Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, like the original guys.
Yeah.
But the Apollo program, which is the only way we ever went to the moon, they all left behind their lander module, much like this.
Yeah.
This could be a site from any potential moon landing, even the ones in the 70s.
Right.
But I take it that this is Serenity. I take it this is the first one.
I think it's the first
I'm
one.
Pretty sure.
Because talks about how it's a miracle that it's still here, and it's just or remarkable at least, and that it's held up so well, and that the odds of it not getting demolished has been is fantastic. And then they say something like, fascinating, so much accomplished with so little, and I love that. Like, that's just
fucking tin can and a lot of hope. is what got us to the moon. It's kind of crazy.
And this character continues to say that they are a truly bold species, and it won't be long before and they get interrupted and they are called away. And so they start jumping and making their way back to presumably wherever they were coming from. And eventually they make their way up a mound. And someone that looks very much like a Utron, which we find out is addresses them and is asking if they found the artifact, sir. And they're referring to this character that we've been spending time with as Sir. And they go, yeah, the coordinates were exactly where they said they were, and it's a wonderful piece of history. I considered taking a souvenir, but, no, thought better of it. But they say that I assume you called me because the separation is complete. And the Utrom continues to say that, well, nearly so, but they got more hours to go in testing and all that. But they wanted to check on some modifications to some platforms. And there's a lot of formalities here that both characters are being like very cordial and very respectful to one another. So there's a familiarity.
That is very OG Utrom.
It is.
Like, OG Utroms, they're like nice guys.
Right.
Like,
now, some of them, which we saw in Volume 3, are a little crazy. And then I think there might have been some in the other issues, too, that might have skewed a little more violent than the species as a whole. But the species as a whole are pretty docile and normal. Or not normal, but just non-violent. And they're just scientists, essentially.
Yeah.
Even though they look evil as shit. Yeah, so then we get a 2-page splash. And we see this thing. And it is just this massive...
You have no idea what that is. But it's cool
idea what this is. Undertaking of like this. And for our audio listeners, it's something like a base that's being made in a crater on the moon. And
there's a lot of like kind of like robot assemblage.
Yeah.
Of like different flying kind of robots like assembling parts of this like domes inside this like base. It's very interesting.
Right. So then there's talk about their guest, and the first character that we see in this robot suit is asking about the guest that they have here and how they're doing, and the Utrom is saying that they're less fearful now. They're still indignant about being confined, but they can't really help it. It's just everyone's excited though about what's to come. Like there's something that is what's gonna happen with whatever they're doing here. So they say that they talk about an event, and the other character talks about how like you've handled this crisis well, and in so doing you've given them a tale worthy of entertaining scores for future generations. And I'm like, that's sounds like, I don't know, I'm so intrigued, like I want to know like what
what's kind of wild is that Utrom, I guess kind of underling given the sirs back and forth, talks about promising them a front row seat to the event.
Yeah.
So it is like when I read that, I was like, oh no, this isn't like I promise you can see what we're working on. It's like, oh no, you get a front row seat to like what the hell's about to happen, and it's about to be a real big thing. I'm like, oh my god. Right.
And so more pleasantries like are exchanged between the two, and the character that's the robot suit says, it's your insight into psychology of this world's denizens which has guided our work here. I've only known a few of them, and they weren't even human. And we cut to your boys, the Green Machine, if you will, and we get an homage.
Green Machine.
We get an homage to Mirage Volume 1.
Oh, the old Mirage homage? You mean?
A Mirage homage.
And Francisco?
Exactly. So you get a close-up of Leonardo with his bandana, and you can see his pupils, which is wild to me. Like I don't know. This is just it's so.
Can I step up and say that the combination of the pupils and the lower eyelids, is huge.
Oh yeah,
here, like
absolutely.
In black and white, how do you make the lower eyelids look like they have like actual like texture, mass, and are a little wet?
Yeah,
it's really accurate.
It
just looks awesome.
Done. It absolutely does.
Expertly, that looks so good.
So, my name is Leonardo. We made a wrong turn somewhere. Now we're caught, our backs to the wall. in this trash-strewn alley, barring the way out of our 15, let's see, barring the way out are 15 members of the Manhattan militia and the toughest street army on the east side. The only way they'll let us out of here is if we are dead. So
Very reminiscent to Mirage 1.
Right.
That whole intro speech.
Oh, yeah. With the purple dragons and all that, or
Yep,
talk about that and stuff. Yeah. So I hold my katana in a relaxed, ready position. To my left, Donatello and Michelangelo follow suit with bow staff and nunchaku. Raphael guards my right side. I sense his body quivering with the tense energy waiting to be triggered into savage slashing release. And yeah, so you see a voice from the outside refer to them as they say, "You're dead meat, space freaks." So yeah, and then the narration, Leonardo goes on to say he's wrong. We're the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you get a 2-page splash, which is fantastic. And we're not aliens. Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, it's just excellent.
Oh god.
I gotta say so though, good. I still am partial to the original version that this is homaging, but this is still really cool though. Really well done. So then we get a look at the Mad Hatten.
Hold on a minute. I'm sorry. I just went back to Mirage 1, number 1. Because I was very interested if that was an exact quote. And it is.
It is. Okay.
Yeah, like I didn't know if he had changed it a little bit.
Right.
But literally it's the same.
Which quote? The quote about the
I hold my katana in a relaxed, ready position.
Yeah.
That whole thing is completely word for word.
That's awesome.
Which is so badass.
It is. So now we get our first look at the Mad Hatten militia. Ryan, what do you think about these guys? Can you describe what they look like?
All right. You have what I would kindly call an eclectic mix of street rat people. They're all literally. They all look like they have their own weird, like, inner city sob story background.
Okay.
You got a guy in a hunting cap in the front here, old Hunter Harry with a hammer. He's got an actual ass hammer. You got Pirate Pete in the top right with just the shortest knife known to man. Like where the knife blade is like shorter than the handle overall.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You've got a man called Gorilla Gary next to him who I don't even know what he's packing. I can't even see what weapon he has. It looks like he had no, he's just got, his weapon is cargo pockets full of lumpy shit. That is, you're like, I don't like that guy. You ever seen the guy with too much shit in his pockets?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like you ever like have the guy you'd be at Moe's like, welcome to Moe's, and you're like, all right, and you're waiting in line. You're like, oh, here comes my line buddy, because someone walks up behind you.
Yeah,
he's wearing like kind of Army Navy store like kind of greenish camo pants, and with just every pocket.
Yeah.
What looks like full of rocks, and you're like, why?
Why?
That's
Why do you need all that?
He is more of a threat piece.
Yeah.
Right here, let's see what the other guy looks like. He's got a wooden club. And then a guy has what looks like a submachine gun. There's a shotgun, and then you see another guy with a submachine gun later.
Yeah.
And then, like everybody's the guy with the hunting hat and the hammer is my favorite.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but they are kind of it's implied by the Mad Hatten militia that these guys are borderline crazy.
Yeah.
It's not even like Purple Dragons, Code of Honor. Like we deal with the Foot directly, so we kind of have some like wars with them and blah blah blah.
Right.
These guys are just animals.
Yeah.
Like the honor is forgotten, and I think that's probably what like they're trying to imply here is now that it's the new millennium, like we thought the Purple Dragons were bad, and and now these guys are they're crazy.
Yeah.
Like Mad Max out here.
Yeah, there's nothing keeping them. There's no code for them.
Mm-mm.
So so fighting ensues, and your boys make short work of them, but it's some effort. It seems like. I mean, they're not just like pushovers, these guys, but yeah, all this fighting, and they've got guns, like you said. So the turtles usually do not fare too well with guns, but they hold their own here. Like it's not. I mean, because they're not bulletproof like they are in the Platinum Dune movies, but
No, I do like it on page 15 here where you're at, where the guy gets Leo dead to rights with like what looks like a subcompact, like submachine gun.
Yeah,
Pulls the trigger, it jams, and he just throws it at Leo.
the gun. Yeah.
Love that. That's
Yeah,
just like such a cool like stop moment, because everything's like bang, 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 and then you get this breakdown where it's like a bit of the Indiana Jones versus the guy with the sword, then he has the pistol. It's a little of that, but there's something about the like he just says, "Oh, piece of junk," and he just throws it at him. It's so good.
And then he jumps on top of Leo, which you would think he would throw the gun and run, but he actually jumps on top of him.
No, he tries to follow up.
Yeah, he says, "I don't need a gun for the likes of you," and wraps his scarf around Leo's neck. Now, I don't know. I've never been on hardcore drugs or been in a street gang that I can recall. There is not a single part of my being that would ever challenge for lack, just based on what these guys know about the turtles, an alien with ninja swords that looks kind of like a ninja. I would never, like, even if I had two scarves, I wouldn't do it.
So previously, before your boy is like, "I got you dead to rights," like before all that, this same alien with only one katana out, ninjato, excuse me, only one ninjato out, disarms two guys, sends them flying, who were, one of which was wielding what looked like about a 10-foot long piece of chain.
Yeah.
And you think the old like sweater around the neck, like the old like scarf around the neck's gonna get him?
Right.
Yeah, like
that's just,
it's got to be drugs. It's got to be just like hyper PCP, like I'm invincible.
That's true.
Like kind of stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, more action scenes, and these look great. They look like some old Mirage. Like it's very reminiscent.
Just vintage Mirage fight scene. It looks really cool.
So the turtles are fighting and all that. They're looking for the leader, but they're like they don't know, and where he's at. And then they're just talking. The turtles are kind of like cleaning up and whatnot. And then Leo says that they need to go for a little rooftop action to separate the men from the boys, or the turtles from the humans. And so the turtles all make their way up there. Then as they're running, they make their way into a building, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, we'll stay here for a few minutes, and just because the militia nuts don't like fighting in close quarters." So then you got your boy Mikey, who says, "Is it just me, or was this a lot easier 15 years ago?" So that tells you
this isn't a reboot. That's what that tells you right there, because you don't know anything. They do mention the purple dragons earlier, but that could just be a reboot where they're saying, "Oh, remember the purple dragons?" Like in their timeline. This tells you that like no, this is like continuing.
Right. So is this 15 years from the last time we saw the turtles? Like barring because I don't know if we actually I don't think we actually addressed this. Kevin and Peter, Peter specifically, they divorced volume 3. They said forget volume 3. Volume 3 did not happen.
I think charitably Peter said that he considers it and like an elsewhere story, like Elseworld story.
Right.
Because he refired up Mirage, and so they're really picking up from 2.
Exactly.
Really. We'll have to read more, because I don't think he'll reference things that happened in 3. But just by the fact that the turtles are unmarred, I mean, just by the fact
that's what I was going to say.
Raph has a face, like half, like more than half a face, tells you that apparently that's not canon,
right?
Image.
So we're looking at 15 years. So if they were 15 in Mirage Volume 1, and now we're looking at 15 years. So they're 30?
They're 30. And that actually, it's funny. Their aging has been brought up in Mirage canon comics.
Yeah.
There are theories that based on the mutagen in their blood and how turtles typically tend to live a really long time,
Right.
that they may be still in the teenage years of their
Ah,
actual lifespan.
right.
There's
So
a
therefore the
theory, I
name
think it's
still
around the
works.
time of Bloodsucker, when Raph gets his mutagen destabilized and he kind of de-evolves.
Yeah.
Very Flowers for Algernon style. There's something said about like, well, that you could live for, you know, 200 years. We don't know. It's never happened before,
Right.
but you're aging slower
Right.
than you should. Still, though, the way that Mikey's gassed, and he's talking about 15 years ago, it does say, well, they may not have aged 15 physical years. I mean, obviously, in maturity years, yes, they're in their 30s. They have to be,
Yeah.
but
So
they've definitely aged up some.
yeah, this is they're not spring turtles anymore.
No.
But yeah, they mentioned the purple dragons here, and they're like, remember when the purple dragons were bad? So yeah, they start talking about that, and yeah, they kind of are making their way around this area, and they're like, Leonardo suggesting that they don't think that they'll have any trouble on the rooftop. So yeah, they're kind of making their way up to the roof, and one of the turtles, presumably Leonardo, says, "Looks okay, let's go." And then
That's what you looked like when you were right before you closed your bedroom door and put that acoustic guitar against the door
oh, that's
because
true.
of paranormal activity. That
Because
was
of
the last
paranormal
look.
activity. Yep.
Like when I'd spend the night at your house when you'd be recording and stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
I look down that long hallway and you're like,
Yep.
see you, brother. You have that
I was
look on
like,
your face, like
yeah.
looking around like paranormal activity out here? No, okay.
Yep. And then just into the shadows. That's what it was.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Strike
So
hard and fade away.
exactly. Well, speaking of fade away, I'm going to fade away and let you take over the review.
Oh shit. Yeah, so turns out we won't encounter any problems on the roof. Incorrect. They hear the sounds of a motor, and all of a sudden there are militia members with snowmobiles on the roof of the building.
Yeah.
The turtles keep asking throughout this entire fight, how in the hell can they get these guys up? How they get these guys at roof level?
Right.
And they
Yeah.
don't find an answer, by the way.
No.
The only thing you really get is one turtle says maybe they're smarter. It's Donnie. It says, it pains me to say, but perhaps altogether the militia possess an iota of intelligence
Right.
about how they even get up there.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool fight stuff. And now we move to something I truly love about classic Mirage fight scenes. Where sometimes you might say, "Oh, I'm in a fight issue," and this feels like a lot of it has been a fight issue.
Right.
Some of these panels got some "Where's Waldo" going on though.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not going to describe every single thing in every panel, but one cool thing is if you do have access to the book, is just take a second and look at the stuff in it. There's a lot of things happening in each panel.
Yeah.
It gives you a little more value for a fight issue than a typical big 3 book where it's like, especially big 2, where it's like fight issue. Oh, Iron Man punched Abomination. That's the whole art,
Right.
but like there's all kind of stuff going on. They're under fire. They're running around. Eventually we get a classic Peter Laird piece of machinery crashes into something else, that schmarash and all that
Yeah.
glass and like all the skylight stuff. It reminds me a lot of like the raw dog ass car accidents that happened in Mirage Volume 1 where we're like, Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Christ.
Jesus.
Like
Jesus.
every cop is dead. Like they don't have airbags, bro. It's like
No,
1985.
Yeah, no.
Like
do not
like
ambulate.
Do not ambulate. You will get defenestrated out the front of that windshield. That happens. Definite so defenestration going on. So, everybody, so they fight some more, and eventually they're like, all right, we're out of here. Even though they don't defeat all the bad guys, like they have this idea the militia, they're like, we're out. Like, there's only a few of them left.
Yeah.
They all jump off. And this is where the past start to divulge a little bit. Like, they start, sorry, divert. So Donnie lands on the ground and he finds a snowmobile on the ground.
Right.
And he's like, oh shit, I'm riding that.
Yeah.
And it's actually funny because like one of the dudes way up top, one of the militia guys, is like, hey, get away from my sled. And Donnie goes, wait, what? What's that you say? You want me to try out your snowmobile? Well, thanks a lot. And Mr. Mall Idiot, and he gets on there and hauls ass. And and we see that Michelangelo is like kind of around the corner, like kind of taking cover, actually weirdly being a lot more responsible than Donnie in this issue, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, Don, oh my God. And then when Don hauls ass away, Mikey runs into the street. He's like, hey, Don, wait up, wait for, and he falls down like on the ground. I guess he slips.
Yeah, because it's snowing.
There's snow all over the place. I think it's hard to see, but he slips and then gets like knocked off the street by an oncoming bus.
Yeah.
Knocks him into the windshield of a car, which it doesn't really broke through it. It's more like he's just on top of the car with the snow all over it.
Right.
Pretty wrecked. And then you see a character with a cape, kind of a like a, what would you call that style of helmet?
I'm trying to think. There's definitely characters that do it, but almost as if you had antenna on your head that came from from the sides of your head. That went up. There's probably a new god that has a head shape like that. Galactus like kind of has a head shape like that.
That kind of style.
Yeah.
Helmet thing.
And this character calls himself Magnarok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see him and the Oh, okay, I get it. So he picks Mikey off of the top of the car.
Right.
Walks him into an alley, sets him behind a crate, and says, Magrock here, I need to pick up stat.
Yeah.
Given his alien appearance, you get a feeling that, like, this is how the turtles potentially get caught up and sent to the moon. You don't really fully know. But it's like, looks like this is part of the plan.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Donnie, there's a real role reversal. Because while Michelangelo's dick's in the dirt getting, carried around by Magrock of all people. Magnarok. You've got Donnie popping down into the subway, like just like kicking ass out here. Like, now he does get down to the sewer and to the subway tunnel. And he starts to lament the fact that the snowmobile kind of sucks to ride without snow under it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, fair. He bops a fuel line, starts to catch on fire. He ditches it. The snowmobile hits a wall. It explodes, and there's a huge hole. And when Donnie walks through that hole, he sees what appears to be an armored car, like covered in rubble from like the explosion. There's there's just stuff staged around. There's like several blankets, a hand cart with some various paper on it. There's just there might be like little Easter eggs in here that, like, if you kind of know what was happening later in the comic, you might be able to go back and be like, oh, okay. But like right now, it just seems like a really dirty, beat up armored car, and you don't really get any explanation for it. Now this part warms my heart. This next
absolutely.
Part. This is where the home cooking is.
Yep.
Cut to the city, and you've got Casey at the foot of right at the top of the stairs of what appears to be a kind of apartment building that April bought. Remember, back in volume 2, April became kind of a little landowner.
Yeah.
Like, she used the second time around insurance money to buy a hotel, like an apartment block, like a apartment building. Casey lived there for a time. Actually, weirdly lived there before April bought it, which is really weird. That is really how him and April came together during City at War. That is
Right.
that is the origin of like where they at the end of this they both adopt Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of unsaid. It's not like, and we're going to get married and adopt
Right.
Shadow, but you realize they formed a family.
Yeah.
Him leaning against the door saying, "You got everything, Mrs. Jones," and you see April. I'm like, oh, that's so good. That's so good. I love it.
It is.
So, definitely like married, or if not, like very close, because he
Yeah.
is the kind of guy that would call her Mrs. Jones, even though they weren't married. But
Oh,
like,
sure.
yeah, but she definitely looks nervous. She's like, I don't want to be late. She's getting down in the car. And he's like, hey, slow down, babe. The doc's only 10 minutes away. Your appointment isn't for another hour. And she's like, oh, you're right. She says, it's just this not knowing what's wrong is driving me crazy. And he says, I know, April, this baby thing's important to both of us. Remember, come
Oh,
on, maybe
snap.
we'll get some answers today.
Mm. The baby
So, what
thing.
it obviously kind of appears to be is that they're having a hard time conceiving, is what I'm taking it as.
Oh, I was
Um,
thinking that she might already be pregnant, and that okay, yeah. There's no signs of it.
I
It's just
guess
that.
they're taking it very. He's like, hey, look, the doctor appointment's like only 10 minutes away. I think he's trying to calm her down, and that does feel more like, which is, oh, this not knowing what's wrong
Yeah,
is driving me crazy. He says, this baby thing's important to both of us. I guess it could be that she's carrying, and there might be something wrong, but like, I just think their attitude would
I
be a
think you're right.
lot different.
I think you
Like,
are.
if you think there's something wrong with the baby, you're not
Yeah,
like making an appointment. You're running to the doctor.
that's true.
So, um, but it's really cool. So
It
this is
is.
a bit of a reintroduction and a bit of a level up in Casey and April's like ongoing story.
Oh yeah.
Um, so then we cut to some cool shit.
Oh yeah.
Uh, the throwback to Volume 1 is so good here. We see a woman who we've never seen before, and
Hmm.
she is all sweaty, like when she's watching Cops. You know what I'm saying? Like how we all get when we watch Cops.
Oh yeah.
And
Absolutely.
she's fighting somebody, and you don't
Hmm.
know who it is, but they have like really long hair and look kind of odd. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of fighting going on.
Yeah.
And then this woman calls, she goes, time. She goes, oh, thank you, Metalhead. And you look over,
Yep.
and it's
It's your boy,
Metalhead at the
Metalhead.
bottom of 30,
Yeah.
which is
So
super cool.
it is. So if you're not
Um,
familiar with this character, this is a character from.
yeah, dive into it.
Yeah, he's essentially a retired superhero, a former member of the Justice Force, and he first appeared in TMNT Volume 1, number 15 from 1988.
Yes.
Essentially, I got to read all this because there's a lot. He's essentially a synthetic being created by Dr. Dome, who had the dome within a dome
Oh,
within a
dome
dome,
within a dome. That
all
goes
that
way back.
way back. And he controls his body, especially his hair, psychokinetically. So his hair can harden to an almost steel-like consistency and can be molded to be used in various ways. Also has the appearance, or can change his appearance a little bit. Like he can alter certain things. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, there's a
yeah.
little bit of that going on. But that's what you
He's got a
see.
little of a mud face kind of thing going on.
Yeah. Oh, you mean
Um,
Clayface?
Clayface, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mudface.
And Mudface. I mean,
I was
halfway
looking
there.
at him and I was like, is that like something Ryan says about ugly people? It's like, oh, you got a mud
Oh,
face. And I was like,
shit.
oh, okay.
No, Dr. Dome is what's up.
Yeah.
Metalhead's great because he's very small. That's the other thing. He kind of appears almost like a troll doll. And I would not be surprised if like part of the concept was like, what if a troll doll was like into heavy metal music, wore actual clothes,
Yeah.
it didn't look so weird.
I believe
But
he is, I don't know that he's necessarily a little person, but he definitely is of short stature.
oh, I thought he was definitely a little person.
I can't remember. I don't
Um,
recall, but he's
I
definitely
just remember
short.
his size like being like very diminutive.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
he had a big head and he had like a kind of a small body. I don't
Right.
know if he meets the requirements for dwarfism, but either way,
And
small guy.
he has itty bitty waist big behind too. If we zoom in here, I
No,
mean,
he
look at that.
does.
He's very calipigous a little bit. Look at
He's
that
very
curve.
calipigous and doesn't really need much of a belt. Those pants just stay on that
No.
ass.
Ooh.
You know what I'm
Ooh.
saying?
You
Like,
can't pay for that.
I'm not saying it's like a couch,
but
ass bump that you could just like sit on. It's more
yeah,
like the ledge outside of like a library or a government building where
there you
it's
go.
about 2-3 inches, and you can lean
Yeah,
and get
yeah,
a little
yeah,
more than you would just lean against a wall. That's the kind of
exactly,
a dog and donkey you got going on here. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
It's not the full
Hmm.
love seat hanging off the
No,
back or
no,
anything, but we're close. Well, but you can still get a little purchase. You know what I mean?
you can.
Prehensile hair has always been one of my favorite things in superheroes, like
Oh yeah,
Medusa from Inhumans. And I mean, I can't get enough of prehensile hair.
yeah.
So it's cool. And he's like, yeah. And this is the big one. The pleasure is mine, Miss Shadow. I'm here to serve. And you're like,
Oh,
yes,
there you go.
Shadow's grown up. That's so
Yep.
cool. So
Which makes
in
sense.
canonically, it's been 15 years since Mirage One, number
Right.
one, is in that era. It's been 15 years.
Yeah.
Remember that the time frame between the Golden 11, right,
Yeah.
and basically the events that are covered in the TMNT 1990 movie, the first movie,
Right.
movie one, as we call it here on the podcast.
Yeah.
Um, between that and Return to New York, it's like 6 months.
Yeah.
Between
Whew.
Return to New York and City at War is a not very much longer,
No.
which
No.
means Shadow is like at least 15 years old, if
Yeah.
not a little older, because she wasn't a newborn baby when she comes into the picture with Casey
Right.
and Gabriella. Like she was a baby. Don't get me wrong. She wasn't a toddler, but she probably was a year or more old. So Shadow could be up to 16 years old.
Yeah.
That's cool as shit.
It is. So
Love that.
yeah.
Oh, and I love that she's like fighting and like getting into the whole thing. She's got kind of like her dad's thing going on. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
so good. Um, so yeah. Then she says she's all right, let me get cleaned up and changed and I'll help you with dinner, which means kind of like, okay, are they kind of like living in a place together? Like kind of like, are
Right.
they in like a compound? And we see that these are some digs that Shadow lives in.
Yeah.
It's like part rustic cabin, part
Mm-hmm.
castle.
Castle. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a castle turret. I don't understand it. That might be like a mill
Yeah.
or a like a silo, an
Silo.
really old silo.
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, but yeah, she says at least it should help keep my mind off waiting to hear about April's appointment. Come on, Dad, pick up the phone already. Um, and she's just kind of chilling, and then we get a shot of old Dad,
Yep.
and he says, "Yo, Casey will call Shadow. You must be
Mm-hmm.
patient." And she's like, "I'm really trying, Splinter." And he's like, "Oh, I wouldn't know anything about a couple teenage jerks, four of them that tried my patience all those years." You know what I mean? Basic kind of thing.
Yeah.
Love this Splinter
Oh
right
yeah.
here. That dog looking Splinter.
Dog
Put it in
face
my
dude guy.
veins.
Rat face dude
Dog
guy.
face dude guy. That's my guy right there. Love that return to traditional Splinter.
Oh, absolutely.
Love it. And Mirage never left in the canonical stuff. He always looked like this, but
Oh yeah.
we've read a lot of comics in between then and now, and
We
I
have.
love it. And then and then we see Shadow, who why the long face? It's kind of an unfortunate kind of situation, but it is what
Yeah.
it is. Here. They can't all be diamonds. So she says, yeah, but it's not just that. It's just all day I've had the strangest feeling that things are about to happen to us, to the world, big things,
Big
and that
things.
are to be continued.
Yep.
Um, then we get a little preview image of
Yeah.
TMNT. I already like better in black. Can I just tell
Oh,
you? I think
yeah.
it might have been the yellow orange I wasn't a fan of because
Okay.
that looks way better in black and white to me.
Yeah.
And we see Turtle falling from a building. It says number
Now,
2
I do not like
in
this because
February.
this is triggering me, making me think about when Donatello was falling from that helicopter in Volume 3. And, ooh, that was not fun.
That was one of the darkest things that's ever happened in the Turtle comics. Your boy,
Absolutely.
that was okay. That was actually a stroke of genius because you remember it's the whole thing where like that symbiote cybernetic thing comes to save his life.
Right.
It's one of those things where it's like you'd be dead without me,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I've taken over more of you.
Right.
That is fucked up.
It
That
is.
was really good. That was really good, like body horror,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
really cool on Eric Larson's part for sure.
Definitely.
Not Eric Larson. I'm sorry. I am blanking on who wrote. It was not Eric
Ooh.
Larson who wrote that. He edited it. He
Yeah,
was
I don't remember.
the man behind the curtain, kind of, as far as like, or the man holding the strings a bit.
I'm trying to think who it
Somebody
was.
else wrote it, and it was really good.
It
Gary
was,
Carlson.
oh, yeah.
It was Carlson and Frank Fosco,
Yeah.
who were just all over those comics. And yeah, Gary Carlson. I don't want to get that
Yeah.
was pretty metal,
It
Gary.
was.
We thought it was metal at the time. But yeah,
w-
you know, Gary, that you did something ultra metal when we're triggered by something years later. We're
oh,
like,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah, still.
remember that
And
time?
seeing something that's just reminiscent of that is like, yeah, because, oh,
We're
that's
like,
just
no, fam.
rough. Yeah, just seeing
Yeah.
any turtle like falling like that. Oof, it's rough. But
Well, and that's Mirage Volume 4, number 1, everybody.
yeah, yeah. So what'd you think?
Yeah, yeah. Man, I loved it. I loved it. It's a classic number 1. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't give you a ton to chew on. It
No.
gives you more questions to answer. I love it though. Like,
Oh yeah.
getting back to it, I do feel like how Peter said, like in his letter, like, yeah, it's, you meet some people that were directly affected, and you see a new generation inspired, and like that got me inspired again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can feel it that he's like firing it back up. It'd be very interesting to see if the home fires can keep burning.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? As the work becomes more of an actual press on his time and his
Yeah.
energy at his age. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Because
I'm
right
very
now
curious to
everything's
see how.
exciting.
Oh
Everything's
yeah,
like,
right
yeah,
now he'll
yeah.
stay up all night working on this comic, but
Right.
trying to hit that bi-monthly
Yeah.
with all the stuff, he's got more help than he ever had between Dan and other people at Mirage, and all the Mirage geniuses helping out with all this.
See,
Uh,
I'm curious
but
if
we'll see.
like I'm curious if like especially at that time period where they know that they have a hit. They know that the turtles will sell. Like it's almost
Yeah,
guaranteed. Why don't they I wonder why they didn't just go I mean maybe it's just because of semantics and just systemic stuff. But like why didn't they just go ahead and do like let's do 6 issues and get them done. And then that way we'll have 6 months or a whole year of issues that are going to be on time, and that gives us a year to write to get the other ones going. See that?
I yes, no, I do wonder about that, because I know that Mirage itself, I think business wise, everything was kept very separated, which I completely agree. Which I completely understand. I don't know how much money Mirage has.
Excuse
So
me.
the problem
That makes
with all
sense.
that, right, is that you have to pay everybody for all their time
Mm,
right now
yeah, yeah.
without recouping a dollar.
That's probably what it
Then
is.
take on, whatever. Um, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, and I do wonder if they didn't think about it that way, but something tells me that maybe they would have gotten out over their skis financially doing that.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying does make sense. Like, why are we starting and then we put out number 1, and then it's like, okay, blow the whistle. Now everybody work as hard as you possibly fucking can.
Right. Right.
Like, why don't you work way ahead?
Yeah. And at the very
Especially
least,
when you're independent like this. Like, you're
yeah.
not like, because in something like the Marvel or DC universe, it's like, no, as much as I love, this awesome writer and artist working on Birds of Prey,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you get 6 months ahead of the DCU, like
Yeah.
in the comics.
Right.
You literally can't. We have to do a tie-in with you
Yeah.
in like 2 weeks, so we have to be timed up with us.
Right.
But I agree. When you're just doing the Turtles comic and all by itself, I do wonder why.
The way I would have done it is
Seems
especially
like they
with
don't.
Yeah, especially with Peter doing a lot of the stuff on this already. I would have been like, I'm going to go ahead and do every bit that I can to get ahead, because at this point Peter's a millionaire and he
Yeah,
has like money's
nothing
not.
but time.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, not to say that he didn't have other problems, I'm sure, but like still, like
Yeah,
this is what you want to do and you know it's going to make money. You know it's going to work. Um at least on a very small success level. Like it's like guaranteed. Yeah, I don't know. It's just strange, but yeah, I
Yeah, I
loved
don't
it.
know.
I
Yeah,
loved
yeah.
going back to the black and white. Thought that was
Yeah, dude.
fantastic. And yeah, the his art, I like it. I think I'm more of a Kevin fan, but I do like his artwork. The people look a little weird, like you mentioned. They do tend to be
Yeah,
a
it's
little
really
strange.
kind of, and that does kind of come down to Jim Lawson's pencils. And we've seen this before with Lawson, where like
Oh
sometimes
yeah,
he's really like focusing on panels and they're like stupid.
right.
Sometimes just based on the maybe the concentration or the alignment, he kind of goes out a little bit more. I don't want to call it like deformed,
Right.
but it's more of like a lack of time on faces and detail.
Mm-hmm.
I think to get it all knocked out. I think
Yeah.
he can get a lot of work done. But and then it's funny because it went from Lawson's pencils back to Laird for inking and toning.
Yeah.
And he's the end. So it really is. It's Lawson, probably Laird and Lawson working together on panel layouts.
Right.
Then it's Lawson pencils the book, and then it's Laird, and it's over.
Yeah.
I can really see Lawson through a lot of this.
Absolutely.
But yeah. Besides that, I mean, look, if you're reading Mirage, you're not. There's nothing new about character faces being inconsistent.
No.
Panel. I mean, that's just half.
That is that is tried and true.
You
for
could
them.
almost say it's part of the actual feel and style of the books.
Absolutely.
This many years in, frankly.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a hallmark for them in that regard.
It's a hallmark.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. It moved
I'm
along.
glad.
It introduced a bunch of people. It gave me a lot of questions, and yeah, it teased a bunch of stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited about getting into this. And
Shadow Grown Up is something that I'm so absolutely excited about.
oh yeah,
Not
that
since
time
like
jump.
not since like Karai
Mm-hmm.
have I been. There's something about the daughter grown up around everybody that's just like so good. Like,
oh, absolutely.
I want to know all about her. I want to know about like how long did she live with Casey and April? Why does she not live with Casey and April now? Why is she living with Splinter and Metalhead? Right? Like, why is she not with them? This house, is it in
Northampton,
upstate New York?
Right.
Is it more toward Northampton? Is it more removed? And why? A lot of whys. She obviously cares a lot about April and her dad. So it's not like there's any bad
animosity
blood where she's like, I hate them. She's waiting for her dad to call, like, what's going on with April.
Yeah.
She really is invested, but she's potentially not in school.
Right.
And she's hard training with the boys. So I want to know everything about her life and everything that happened in the last 15 years. I want to know.
Oh yeah, me too. So I know there's about, I want to say, I'm going to speak out of turn because I don't recall off the top of my head. I know there's at least 20 of these, I think. So I don't remember how long it goes. I think there's some question as to whether or not it ends. I think that something did get finalized. Whether or not it was published or not, I think that the information got out as to how it ends. But
okay.
But,
I knew there was something like that.
Yeah. Because I don't think it has I don't think it had a proper ending in its time necessarily. But I know that it does have whatever was either later published, like years after it had already finished, came out, or the scripts and everything kind of got out well after it was already wrapped up. So, but regardless, this is still like another stepping stone in the journey, and that's just very exciting to finally be here. And I don't know, I'm just really looking forward to this. And then before you know it, we're gonna be in 2003, and we're gonna be chugging along with that animated series. Goodness. And it's gonna be a whole new world, if you will. So well, hey, let us know your thoughts on this. We want to know what you think about this volume and everything leading up to it. If we missed anything, if there was any like juicy details that like we forgot or just didn't know about, let us know in the comments or email us at turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. You can find us on the home of the internet, turtlesoupshow.com, where we have all our episodes up. And then, you can find us on the social medias. We're there occasionally, I guess. And then we are on the Facebook group still, which is where a bunch of cool people hang out and post turtle stuff.
Absolutely.
Which is one of the only reasons to be on Facebook still. And
that's got me like just a small thing that really does have me being, because like I use Discord now to talk to so many people that I used to use Messenger for.
Oh, okay.
And even groups for. And I obviously, because we like Turtle Soup Facebook page predates all this shit going on with Meta and everything like that. So it's not a thing. But I have thought about maybe putting the feelers back out to the community a little bit about, like, we have our Discord. Do you know what I mean? Not a lot of people use it. We frankly weren't using it for a while. But like for a long while. But like I would be down to be more on it. We can't leave Facebook completely, but like all I'm saying is like Turtle Soup Discord is up, and like if you want to get in there, let us know.
Get in there. Let us know.
We should work on sharing the invite more to some more people and stuff, and kind of refire that up, because it is very good, and it's a very good alternative to anything having to do with those individuals.
Exactly. So, but if you want to have something to do with these two individuals that you see on your screen and hear in your ears, you can go to patreon.com and find Turtle Soup's done and making a podcast, and your boy Easy's done been trying to get these rewards out, which I am almost done and will be shipping them out soon. But you can throw some pennies our way, help us to keep from saying clang and keep the show going. And we sincerely appreciate everyone who's been patrons before, who are still there with us now, and all the patrons in the future. We thank you ahead of time. And so, we will be back hopefully soon with more of this. Now, we haven't discussed this yet, but we probably will later. But we're not sure if we're going to do 2 issues or if we should just do 1 issue, an episode. Not really sure. If you have any thoughts on that, feel free to let us know, and we'll feel free to ignore or accept that opinion. And sorry, I just wanted to be really.
We reserve the right to do whatever we want, but we would love to have your opinion on it, because you never know.
Right, you never know. And then if
you have a voice here on Turtle Soup.
You absolutely do. Unless your name is Mr. Bucket, you have a voice on this show.
No, I will say this. If all of our patrons got together and said, you guys do it this way, that might be different.
That might be different. I mean, they're
if you hold the purse string,
if you throw money at me, I'll pretty much do anything. If you're Dan Berger and
you should see what this guy's done for money. Is all I'm going to tell y'all.
Oh, yeah. I mean, sometimes I have to close my eyes. It's ridiculous. Anyway. Well, thank you guys again so much for joining us and being a part here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
thanks,
again,
guys.
like, subscribe. We really appreciate it. And until next time, else time.